I'm interviewing my dad,
Edward Quinn, Ed Quinn.
and we are going to be discussing the 106th Street project on Sugar Lake, the South Shore, which Dad was instrumental in making happen. So Dad, tell us how this all began in 1957.
Began in 1957 when your mother and I, Jan Quinn, had two baby girls, you and Suzanne, and a boat in the garage, and that never got out of the garage. So we said we needed a cabin. So in 1957, we eventually ended up at Sugar Lake on the south side, and there was a farmer that was selling 13 lots on the South Shore, and he had carved a little makeshift road along the back of all these lots, right through the middle of his pasture, and then put up a fence for the cows, so the cows were on one side of the fence, and we were on the other side. So we, all 13 of us, eventually ended up with cabins along the south side and cows in our backyard almost. At Sugar Lake, they had 13 lots, but hadn't sold all the lots. So some of the lots that they hadn't sold, it was still pasture, so the cows were right down to the lake. And of course, it was the lower part of this area, so they just walked right into the lake. So when we got there were cows standing in Sugar Lake.
That led to
Bob Miller.
Yep, Bob Miller requesting to buy the pasture.
Yes, good, enough of the pasture so the cows would be 150 feet further back, and which I thought was a great idea, but John Topfer wasn't ready to do that yet. That was his main pasture for his herd of dairy cows, which he was milking.
Right.
And so that was his pasture, and he was in the dairy business, so that was it.
Yeah, yeah.
So years went by after Bob approached him and no action was taken.
Right. And during that time, the pasture, what happened with the water coming out of the pasture?
Yeah, the whole dairy herd was behind us, so it all sloped our way. And particularly towards the east, where some of the lower lots were, like at Peterson's lots. They had all this effluent and crud had to go someplace, so either went into our yards or down towards the Petersons. Some went both ways.
Yep.
And so it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And cow pies and flies
Yes.
involved.
Yes, exactly. The flies were particularly
Flies are
bad.
bad.
Yep. So then, what happened when John Topfer kind of changed his mind?
Well, the way we understand it is that he approached Brenda Pilger, a real estate agent, and he wanted to sell some of his pasture because he wanted to use the money to buy another piece of land that had come on the market. And so we understood that if he wanted to sell it, some of us wanted to buy it.
Correct.
So it took a long time to get there, but that's the way it goes, and sometimes in real estate, the window opens up.
Yes, exactly. So you were instrumental in getting all of the property owners on the South Shore to agree to buy this, because he wasn't going to sell unless he had enough people, all the people willing to buy.
Yeah, because the township had volunteered to build a road behind all this, if all of us agreed to buy this land.
Right.
I mean, you can't just buy something. So I said, well, I've got to talk all these people into doing this, and I've got to get it in writing, because we can't just have a verbal thing. It's got to be in writing. So
Right.
Finally put together a little sheet of paper and said, you either agree to this or you don't agree to it, but then you sign here, and I'll take all this to Brenda Pilger
Right.
to get the ball rolling. Well, it took a while to do that.
Yes.
And so I had to explain the benefits of this thing, that the cows were gonna be 150 feet further back, and we're gonna have a nice township road, and
Right.
all this water was gonna go to somewhere down, hopefully down to a holding pond,
yes,
and before it went into the lake. And so we finally got all the signatures, and
Right.
then we went ahead.
yep,
Along with all this movement of land, they will furnish a nice township road according to their township specs, which is
right,
a nice, beautiful road with maybe 33 feet wide,
right,
with shoulders and ditches and culverts, and according to their standards, which turned out to be very good.
yeah. And then the township were the instrumental in putting the holding pond where the water would go,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly who designed this, because I was pretty much involved only in the reviewing of the design, which we all did.
Yeah.
All the 13 homeowners did. We reviewed the design to make sure that it was gonna do what we thought it should do.
Right,
But the township worked with someone, and it might have been the Wright Soil and Water Conservation District, might have been Dale Gustafson, I don't know who exactly worked on it, but in my opinion, they did a nice job.
yeah,
So we got a
So-
lot of stuff underground,
yep,
and a nice road and a holding pond, and
yep, so the water
And they-
and,
homeowners are all happy, some of them built barns, and
yep,
it turned out to be a good project.
yeah.